What if I regret it? How to silence the voice that ruins everything. Imagine standing at the edge of a diving board for the very first time. The water below looks cool and inviting, a perfect escape from the summer heat. You can already picture the splash and the cheers from your friends waiting below. But just as you prepare to jump, a cold whisper slides into your mind. It asks a simple, terrifying question. What if you regret it? Suddenly, the water seems too deep, the board too high, and your legs feel locked in place. This book is about that whisper, the uninvited guest that lives rent-free in our minds and loves to ruin our fun. We have all met this voice, whether we're changing jobs, ending a relationship, or simply ordering a new dish at a restaurant. It feeds on fear and thrives on imaginary disasters, turning exciting possibilities into sources of panic. Its mission is to keep us small, safe, and stuck, always wondering what if, but never daring to find out. But here is the beautiful secret. That voice is not the boss of you. It is a scared part of you that means well but has terrible methods. This book is your guide to turning down its volume, changing its message, and finally taking that jump. Together, we will learn how to silence the noise and start living a life driven by courage, not regret. Chapter 1: The What If Monster. Maya stared at the accept offer button on her screen for the 10th time. The new job promised more money, creative freedom, and a shorter commute. It was everything she had worked for, but then the whisper began. What if the new boss is terrible? It hissed. What if you can't handle the work and they fire you? What if you hate it and miss your old desk? Her finger hovered, paralyzed. The what if monster was wide awake, painting vivid pictures of every possible failure while hiding all the potential joy. She felt the familiar ache of indecision in her stomach, the feeling of being stuck between two worlds. This monster is not your enemy. It is a misfiring alarm system. Our brains evolved to spot danger to keep us alive, which was great for avoiding saber-toothed tigers. But now, it treats a career change or a difficult conversation with the same life-or-death panic. It confuses discomfort for danger. Every what if feels like a prophecy, a guaranteed future of misery waiting to happen. We listen because we think it is protecting us, but it is actually imprisoning us in a cage of its own making. The first step to taming this monster is to see it clearly for what it is. So let's shine a light on it. Give your monster a silly name. Call it Gloomy Gus or Panicky Pete. This takes away its scary, mysterious power. When the voice starts, you can say, "Oh, there's Gus again, predicting doom. Hello, Gus." Suddenly, it is not a terrifying truth-teller. It is just a predictable, overly worried character in your mind. This creates a crucial space between you and the fear. You are no longer drowning in the what-ifs. You are observing them from the shore. This distance is your first taste of real freedom. Now let's play a game with your monster. For every disastrous what if it throws at you, you get to imagine a wonderful what if in return. What if I fail is met with, what if I succeed beyond my dreams? What if they laugh is met with, what if they cheer? This is not about blind optimism, but about balance. Your monster only shows you one scary movie. You have the power to project a hopeful one right next to it. Seeing both possibilities reminds you that the future is not fixed. It is a story you help write with your choices. Maya took a deep breath. She opened a blank document and made 2 columns. On the left, she wrote every fear her monster whispered. On the right, she wrote a hopeful what if for each one. The left column was long and messy. The right column sparkled with excitement. She saw in black and white that her fear was loud but not necessarily more likely. The monster's roars softened into background mumbles. With a smile, she moved her cursor, clicked the button, and felt a wave of exhilaration, not dread. The monster was not gone, but it was no longer in charge. Your mission this week is to catch your monster in the act. Carry a small notebook or use your phone. Every time you hear a what if that stops you, write it down. Then right next to it, write a counter what if that is positive. Do not judge them, just list them. You will start to see a pattern. You will see how your monster reuses the same old scripts. This practice is your training. It builds the mental muscle that lets you hear the fear without having to obey it. You are becoming the director of your mind, not just a scared audience member. Chapter 2: The Perfect Illusion. Leo spent months planning the perfect weekend getaway for his girlfriend's birthday. He researched the most romantic cabins, curated a playlist, and planned a surprise hike to a waterfall. He wanted it to be flawless, a memory they would cherish forever. The morning of the trip, it rained. The cabin had a weird smell. The hike was muddy and the waterfall was a trickle. Leo spent the whole weekend clenched inside, angry at the weather, the cabin, himself. He was so focused on the perfect plan that he missed the real magic. Her laughter in the rain, the cozy hours playing cards, the joy of being together. We are taught to chase perfect. The perfect job, partner, body, decision. We believe that somewhere out there is a flawless choice that will lead to a smooth, happy life with no regrets. This is the perfect illusion, and it is a trap. The search for perfect is a prison because it does not exist. It keeps us frozen, endlessly comparing our real options to a fantasy that will never come. We say no to good things while waiting for the perfect thing, and we miss our entire lives in the waiting room. Let's break free from this ghost. Think of a time you bought something simple like a water bottle. You picked one you liked. You probably did not spend days worrying if it was the absolute best water bottle in the world. You chose, you used it, and you moved on. Now think of a bigger decision like a house or a relationship. The pressure for it to be the one feels crushing. But what if you treated more choices like the water bottle? What if good enough for now or this feels right was a perfect enough reason to choose? This shift changes everything. It puts you back in motion. The truth is, a perfect decision made in fear is worse than a good enough decision made with courage. Perfection is about control. Courage is about trust. Trust that you can handle outcomes. Trust that you can learn and adapt. When you aim for perfect, you are trying to control every future variable to avoid pain. But life is unpredictable. Courage accepts that you cannot control everything, but you can control your willingness to move forward. The imperfect path is the only one that leads anywhere real. Leo finally let go on the last night of the trip. He admitted the weekend was nothing like his plan. She smiled and said, "I know, it was even better, it was ours." He realized the pressure for perfect had made him anxious and distant. The messy, real weekend had created inside jokes and a shared story. The illusion of perfection had almost robbed them of a genuine connection. He made a promise to himself to aim for good and real instead of perfect and imaginary. The relief was immediate and profound. Your challenge is to practice making a small, intentionally imperfect choice this week. Order the second thing you see on the menu without overthinking. Wear an outfit that is just fine. Say yes to an invitation without researching every detail. Notice what happens. Does the world end? Or do you feel a little lighter, a little freer? This is you building a tolerance for real life, which is wonderfully, messily imperfect. Each small act weakens the illusion's power. You start to live in the colorful, unpredictable world instead of a sterile, imaginary one. Chapter 3: Your past is not a crystal ball. Anya had a great idea for a community art class. She had the skills and the passion. But 5 years ago, she had started a small business that failed. The memory of that loss was a shadow over her new dream. "Remember last time?" the voice sneered. "You poured your heart into it and it flopped. This will be just the same." Anya saw her art class not as a new beginning, but as a rerun of an old failure. She used the pain of the past to predict the future, letting one chapter write the whole rest of her story. We all do this. We take a single event, a past hurt or mistake, and we let it define every new opportunity. We think, "I was hurt before, so I will be hurt again. I failed once, so I am a failure." We treat our past like a crystal ball, believing it shows us an unavoidable future. This is a tragic mix-up. The past is a teacher, not a fortune teller. It is meant to give you lessons, not limits. A scar is proof you healed, not a promise you will be wounded in the same place. We must learn to separate the memory from the meaning. Imagine you taught a child to ride a bike and they fell and scraped their knee. Would you tell them, "Well, that's it. You fell once, so you are clearly not a bike rider. Never try again"? Of course not. You would clean the cut, give them a hug, and encourage them to get back on. You are that child. Your past falls are not identities, they are events. The meaning you give them is your choice. You can choose the meaning of I am prone to failure, or you can choose I learned about balance the hard way. One meaning chains you, the other frees you. Anya decided to have a conversation with her past self. She wrote a letter to the woman who started that business. She thanked her for her courage and hard work. She listed the specific things that went wrong: poor pricing, not enough marketing, not as signs of personal failure but as practical lessons. Then, she wrote a new plan for the art class using those lessons. She saw the past not as a prophecy, but as a guidebook of what to watch out for. The same facts that once meant you will fail now meant you are better prepared. This week, pick one old regret or hurt that still whispers warnings to you. Find a quiet moment and get 2 pieces of paper. On the first, write the story of what happened, just the facts. On the second, write the story of what you learned about the world, about other people, about yourself. Now burn or shred the first paper. This is a symbol. You are letting go of the event as something that controls you. Keep the second paper, the lessons. Those are your tools. Your past is now an advisor in your pocket, not a judge on your shoulder. Moving forward does not mean forgetting. It means changing your relationship with what you remember. Your history is a library, not a prison. You can visit the section on heartbreak or career mistakes to gather information, but you do not have to live there. The next time a past hurt tries to predict your future, you can say, "Thank you for the information. I have learned from you, but this is a new day and I am a new person." You are the author of your next chapter, and it does not have to be a repeat of the last one. Chapter 4: The Courage to Choose. Sam's dream was to live near the ocean. He talked about it for years, browsing coastal town websites and saving pictures of beaches, but the voice was clever. "It's too expensive," it said. "You don't know anyone there. What if you're lonely?" The dream stayed a daydream, a someday idea. Then his friend sent him a listing for a small rental in a town Sam loved. The voice screamed its warnings. But this time Sam felt a different stir, not of fear but of anger. He was tired of watching his own life from the sidelines. He filled out the application. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision that something else is more important than fear. For Sam, his longing for the ocean finally became louder than his fear of the unknown. We often think courage is a giant leap, a single heroic moment. But real courage is built like a muscle, through small, consistent reps. It is saying no to a draining commitment. It is sending an email you are nervous about. It is wearing what you like. These tiny choices are courage training. They prepare you for the bigger jumps. Think of your comfort zone as a cozy room. It is safe and familiar, but the view never changes. Every courageous choice, no matter how small, is like opening a window in that room. At first, the breeze might feel chilly and strange. You might hear new, unfamiliar sounds, but you also see a wider sky. You feel more alive. Each time you choose courage, you open another window. Eventually, you realize the whole wall is gone, and you are standing in an open field of possibilities. The room was safe, but the field is where you truly live. Em got the rental. The first month was hard. He got lost, he missed his old friends, and the voice had a field day. "I told you so," it gloated, but something else happened too. He learned to surf. He met a neighbor who became a close friend. He woke up to the sound of waves. The fear was real, but so was the joy. The voice was right about some challenges, but it was completely wrong about his ability to handle them. He discovered a resilience he never knew he had simply because he finally chose. Your mission is to create a courage log. For the next 7 days, write down one small, brave choice you make each day. It does not have to be big. It could be asking a question in a meeting, trying a new gym class, or deleting a dating app that makes you feel bad. The act of writing it down is powerful. It proves to you that you are already doing courageous things. You are building evidence against the voice that says you are not brave. At the end of the week, read your log. You will see a person who is stronger than they thought. Courage begets courage. Each choice makes the next one easier. The voice will always be there, offering its doubts. But now you will have a growing list of your own victories to talk back with. You will have the memory of Sam who chose the ocean. You will have the memory of your own logged wins. You can say to the voice, "You might be right, it might be hard, but I have been hard before and I am still here. I choose to try." Making the choice is the victory. The outcome is just the next part of your adventure. Chapter 5. Rewriting the script. Alina was asked to lead a presentation for her biggest client. Her mind instantly played a movie. She would stumble over her words, her slides would fail, the clients would look bored and disappointed. This was her brain's automatic script, written by years of self-doubt. The old Alina would have panicked and maybe even tried to get out of it. But the new Alina had a tool. She paused, took a breath, and deliberately pressed play on a different movie. In this one, she was prepared. Her points were clear, and the clients nodded, engaged. Our brains love scripts. They are automatic stories we tell about how things will go. The problem is when we are afraid, our brain only writes horror movies or disaster flicks. It recycles old scripts of embarrassment and failure. We watch these mental movies and feel the fear as if they are real, which stops us from acting. But here is the exciting truth. You are not just the audience. You are the writer, director, and lead actor. You have the power to rewrite the script. You can change the channel from a tragedy to an adventure. Start by listening. What is your automatic script for a challenging situation? Does it say, "You will be rejected" or "You will look foolish"? Write that old script down word for word. See it on paper. Now grab a different colored pen. This is your director's pen. Your job is not to write a fantasy where everything is perfect. That is just another illusion. Instead, write a script of capability. Write a story where you handle challenges, where you are nervous but you speak anyway, where a problem arises and you adapt. Write a story of resilience, not perfection. Alina rewrote her script. "I will stumble and fail" became "I am well prepared and I can handle questions." "They will be bored" became "I am sharing valuable information they need." She did not believe the new script completely at first, but she repeated it like a mantra. She visualized the new movie every morning. When the old horror film tried to play, she consciously switched the channel. On the day of the presentation, she felt the old fear, but underneath it was a new layer of calm. She had a better story to follow. This week, pick one upcoming event that makes you anxious. It could be a social event, a difficult talk, or starting a project. Close your eyes and let the old, fearful script run. Notice how it feels in your body. Now open your eyes and write it down. Then on a new page, write your rewritten script. Use phrases like "I can handle," "I will try my best to," "Even if X happens, I will Y." Read this new script aloud every day. You are not lying to yourself. You are rehearsing a new, more capable identity. You are practicing who you want to be. The voice in your head is just a bad playwright, stuck in a genre of fear. By rewriting the script, you fire that playwright and hire a new one, the part of you that is brave, smart, and adaptable. The new scripts will feel awkward at first, like new shoes. But the more you wear them, the more they mold to your feet. Soon, your brain will start to automatically reach for these new, empowering stories. The old voice will still whisper, but it will sound like a rerun of a bad show you have no interest in watching anymore. Chapter 6. The Safe Zone Trap. David had played it safe for a decade. He stayed in a job that was fine. He lived in the same apartment. His weekends followed the same routine. It was comfortable, predictable, and slowly suffocating him. He felt a dull ache of boredom, a sense that life was passing him by in a beige blur. The voice told him, "Be grateful, it's secure here. The world is scary." So he stayed, trading his dreams for the illusion of security. The safe zone had become a trap with velvet walls, soft but still a prison. The safe zone feels like a friend. It promises no pain, no rejection, no failure. But its real cost is the highest price of all, your growth. Nothing grows in a comfort zone. No new skills are learned, no new connections are made, no new joys are discovered. The safe zone is where dreams go to quietly fade away. The voice that keeps you there is not a protector. It is a jailer wearing a guard's uniform. It mistakes survival for living. But you were meant for more than just surviving. You were meant to thrive, and that requires stepping into the unknown. Imagine a ship that never leaves the harbor. It is safe from storms and pirates, its paint never chips, but the wood will still rot from inactivity, and it will never feel the wind in its sails, discover new lands, or fulfill its purpose. A ship is built for the sea with all its risks and wonders. You are that ship. Your safe harbor is useful for rest and repair, but it is not where you are meant to stay forever. The open water with its storms and sunsets is your true home. The ache you feel is your soul asking, "When do we set sail?" David's breaking point was a postcard from an old friend who had moved to Spain. It showed a vibrant street market, full of color and life. His own world felt muted in comparison. He realized his security was a story he told himself to avoid the scary, wonderful work of living. He did not quit his job the next day, but he did one small thing. He signed up for a Spanish class at the community center. It was a tiny step out of the harbor. The first class was intimidating, but he left feeling more alive than he had in years. Your task is to identify one velvet wall of your safe zone. What is a tiny, comfortable habit that keeps you stagnant? Maybe it is always watching the same shows, eating at the same places, or avoiding any conversation about your real dreams. This week, deliberately break that pattern once. Take a different route to work. Listen to a genre of music you never try. Strike up a small talk conversation with a stranger. The goal is not the activity itself, but the feeling it creates. It is the feeling of your own aliveness, your capability to handle a little novelty. Expanding your safe zone is a gentle process, not a violent escape. You are not blowing up the walls, you are adding a new room, then a porch, then a garden. Each small venture into mild discomfort makes your world bigger. The voice will warn you of danger. Thank it for its concern and then take your small step anyway. Notice that you survive. Notice that you often feel energized, not harmed. David's Spanish class led to a cooking class, which led to new friends. His safe zone grew to include adventure. Yours can, too. Start building your first new room today. Chapter 7. The Opinion Noise. For years, Zoe wanted to cut her long hair into a sharp, short pixie cut. She loved the look. It felt bold and free. But she heard the voices of others like a constant chatter in her mind. Long hair is more feminine, her mother had always said. Men prefer long hair, a friend once commented. What will people at work think? She worried. She was making a simple choice about her own body based on a crowd of imaginary opinions. The opinion noise was drowning out her own quiet, certain voice. We live in a world full of opinions. From family expectations to social media trends to well-meaning advice, it is a constant broadcast. It is easy to confuse this noise for truth, or to think we need permission from the committee in our heads to live our lives. But here is a liberating fact. Other people's opinions are their business, not yours. They are based on their fears, their experiences, their tastes. They are not a manual for your life. You are the only one who gets to live in your skin and your future. You are the expert on you. Think of opinions like weather. Some days it is sunny praise, other days it is rainy criticism. If you tried to dress for everyone else's weather, you would be constantly changing clothes and never comfortable. Your job is not to control the weather or to please it. Your job is to build a solid house, your sense of self, where you can be warm and dry regardless of the opinion storm outside. This house is built with your own values, your own likes and dislikes, your own hard-won lessons. Inside this house, the noise is just sound, not a command. Zoe finally booked the haircut. In the salon chair, her heart pounded. The voice of opinion noise was a roar. As the first long lock fell to the floor, she felt a jolt of panic. Then she watched her reflection transform. With each snip, she felt lighter physically and emotionally. When it was done, she did not look like her mother's daughter or a man's ideal. She looked like herself, the real her. The chatter in her mind didn't stop instantly, but it became distant, like a radio playing in another room. Her own voice saying, "I love it," was clear and strong. This week, practice being the authority. In one small area, make a choice based solely on your preference. It could be decorating a corner of your home exactly how you like, watching a movie you love but others hate, or ordering a meal with no explanation. When you feel the pull to justify it or imagine others' judgments, pause. Say to yourself, "I am the authority here." Feel what that feels like in your body. It might feel strange, even rebellious. That is the feeling of your own power, waking up from a long sleep. You do not need a committee vote to live your life. You can listen to advice with gratitude, but you must filter it through your own heart. The people who truly matter will love the real, authentic you, not a version you built to please them. And those who criticize are often just afraid of their own haircut, their own dream. Let their opinion be their problem. Your life is not a public poll. It is a private masterpiece you are painting, one bold, true stroke at a time. Turn down the opinion noise and listen. Your own voice is the only one that knows the way. Chapter 8. Embracing the Beautiful. Oops. Liam meticulously planned a romantic proposal at a fancy restaurant. He had the ring, the speech, the perfect table. On the way, he got stuck in terrible traffic, spilled coffee on his shirt, and arrived flustered and late. The restaurant had given away their table. Standing on the rainy sidewalk, he felt like a failure, but his girlfriend, seeing his distress, started laughing. "This is so us," she said. He blurted out the proposal right there, under a store awning with honking cars as their soundtrack. She said yes, crying and laughing. It was nothing like his plan, and it was perfect. We are taught to avoid mistakes at all costs. We see them as stains on the perfect fabric of our plans. But what if we saw them differently? What if a mistake is just life's way of taking us on a scenic route we never would have chosen? The best stories, the most memorable adventures, and the deepest learning often come from the beautiful oops. The wrong turn that leads to a stunning view. The missed flight that leads to a fascinating conversation. The failed project that teaches you what you are truly passionate about. Regret hates these detours, but joy finds them. Your life is not a straight line from point A to point B. It is a winding path through a forest you have never seen before. If you are only focused on staying on the right path, you will miss the hidden waterfall, the strange mushroom, the deer watching you from the trees. The oops moments are when you look up from your map and actually see the forest. They force you to be present, to adapt, to be creative. They remind you that you are not in total control, and that is where the magic happens. Control is an illusion. Adaptability is your superpower. Think of a time a mistake led to something good. Maybe you took a wrong job and met a lifelong friend. Maybe you said the wrong thing and it started an honest, healing conversation. Write that story down. See how the failure was actually a crucial plot twist. This is your evidence file against the voice that says every error is a catastrophe. You are building a new belief that you are someone who can handle surprises and often benefit from them. You are becoming bendable, not breakable. Your challenge is to create a beautiful oops journal. For 1 month, write down one small, unexpected thing each day that disrupted your plan. The train was late. You burned dinner. You forgot a call. Then write down what happened instead. Maybe you talked to a stranger. Maybe you ordered takeout and discovered a new restaurant. Maybe you got an extra hour of quiet. The goal is to train your brain to look for the twist, not just the trouble. You are practicing the art of finding the gift in the glitch. Life is not a performance where one wrong note ruins the song. It is a jazz improvisation. The wrong notes are what make it interesting, human, and unique. When you embrace the beautiful oops, you stop fearing mistakes and start curious about them. You think, well, that didn't go as planned. I wonder what will happen now. This is the attitude of an explorer, not a prisoner. It turns anxiety into anticipation. So the next time your plan falls apart, take a breath, look around and whisper, "Let's see what beauty we can make of this." Chapter 9. The Heart versus Head Standoff. Rita was offered a job across the country. Her head had a spreadsheet: higher salary, better title, career growth. It made perfect, logical sense. Her heart, however, felt a heavy dread. It whispered about leaving her Sunday breakfast with her sister, her familiar walking trails, the city she called home. Her head said, "This is an opportunity." Her heart said, "This is a loss." She felt torn in two, believing she had to choose between being smart and being happy. The standoff left her paralyzed, unable to please either side. We often treat our heart and head as enemies in a war. The head is the cold, logical general. The heart is the wild, emotional artist. We think we must pick a side and betray the other. But this is a false battle. Your heart and head are not enemies, they are partners on the same team. They just speak different languages. Your head speaks in facts, numbers, and pros, cons. Your heart speaks in feelings, intuition, and values. A great decision is not one that silences the other, but one that finds a translation between them. Imagine your head is a brilliant navigator with a detailed map. Your heart is the lookout in the crow's nest, feeling the wind and spotting distant shores. If you only listen to the navigator, you might take the most efficient route but miss the beautiful, resource-rich island just off the path. If you only listen to the lookout, you might sail toward every appealing shore without a plan and get lost. Wisdom is letting the navigator and the lookout talk to each other. The map says go west, says the head. But I feel a pull to the southwest, says the heart. Together they find a new, better course. Rita sat down with her 2 advisors. She let her head list all the logical benefits of the job. Then she let her heart speak without judgment, numbing every fear and every love it would leave behind. She did not try to argue with either. She just listened. Then she asked a bridging question. Is there a way to honor the growth my head wants while respecting the connections my heart needs? The answer was not moving. She asked her head to find other local opportunities for growth, and she asked her heart to be open to new local adventures. The standoff became a collaboration. This week, practice the council meeting. When you face a decision, take 2 pieces of paper, label one head. Write every logical fact, pro and con, label the other heart. Write every feeling, gut instinct, and value it touches, safety, connection, freedom, joy. Do not censor. Then lay them side by side. Look for the overlap. Look for the deepest need each one is pointing to. Your head might want security, which is a number. Your heart might want peace, which is a feeling. How can you find a solution that offers both? You are the mediator of your own inner peace. You are a whole person, not a divided one. The voice of regret loves to pit your heart against your head so you feel confused and stuck. Your job is to facilitate peace talks. Ask your head to explain its logic to your heart in simple terms. Ask your heart to express its feelings to your head without drama. Together, they can find a third option that neither saw alone. A decision made from this wholeness will leave you with integrity, not regret. You will know you honored every part of yourself. The war is over, and you are the wise leader of your united self. Chapter 10: The Comparison Thief. Ben finally published his first short story online. He felt proud. It was a personal milestone. Then he made the mistake of scrolling through a writing forum. He read about a 19-year-old who just got a 6-figure book deal. He saw another writer with hundreds of glowing reviews. His own achievement suddenly felt tiny, worthless. The joy was stolen, replaced by a sinking feeling of being behind, inadequate, a fraud. The comparison thief had struck, turning his victory into ash in his mouth. Comparison is the thief of joy because it steals the present moment and replaces it with a fantasy of lack. We compare our behind the scenes, our struggles, doubts, and starting lines with everyone else's highlight reels. We compare our chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. It is a meaningless game that no one can win because there is always someone ahead. The voice of regret uses comparison to keep you small. Why even try, it says. Look how far ahead they are. It makes you forget that your only real competition is the person you were yesterday. Imagine 2 trees in a forest. One is a tall, ancient oak. The other is a young, slender maple. Would the maple ever think, I'm a failure because I'm not as big as that oak? Of course not. The maple is busy being a maple, growing at its own pace, reaching for the sun in its own way. Its value is in its unique leaves, its specific place in the ecosystem. You are that maple. Your journey, your growth, your timing is yours alone. The oak's existence does not make the maple's life less valuable. Your path is uniquely yours. That is the whole point. Ben closed the forum. He felt awful. But then he remembered why he wrote the story. Because he loved creating characters, because it helped him understand his own life. The joy had been in the doing, not in being better than a stranger online. He reopened his own story and read the last line he had written, the one he was so proud of. The feeling of pride, small but real, flickered back to life. He made a promise, to measure his progress only against his own past work. The thief could keep its stolen goods. Ben was reclaiming his own yard. Your mission is a comparison detox. For 1 week, avoid the triggers. Mute or unfollow social media accounts that make you feel less than. Gently change conversations that turn into boasting contests. When you catch yourself comparing, say this: different path, different pace. Then, immediately turn your attention inward. Ask, what is one small step I can take today on my path? Action on your own goals is the antidote to comparison. It moves your energy from passive envy to active creation. Your story is not meant to be a copy of someone else's. The world does not need another oak tree. It needs your unique maple leaves, your specific shade, your particular way of growing. The next time the comparison thief whispers, thank it for the information and then return to your own garden. Tend to your own soil. Water your own roots. Celebrate your own new buds. The joy you find there is unstealable because it is yours and yours alone. Let others inspire you, but never let them make you disappear. Your journey is the only one you are here to take. Chapter 11. The Now or Never Lie. Sarah saw an ad for a pottery class. She felt a spark of interest. Immediately, the voice pounced. Sign up now, the last spot will be gone. If you don't do this now, you'll never be an artist. Your chance is now or never. The pressure felt urgent and panicked, but Sarah was busy that month. Under the weight of the now or never lie, she did one of two things people usually do. She either rushed into signing up, feeling resentful and stressed, or she froze, let the deadline pass, and felt the bitter regret of a lost chance. We live in a culture of false urgency. Limited time offers, one-day sales, last chance. Our brains are wired to fear missing out, and the voice of regret exploits this. It turns every interest into a pressing emergency, making us feel like we are constantly running out of time. This pressure creates anxiety, not action. It makes choices feel like life or death tests instead of curious explorations. The truth is, for almost everything that matters, life is long and second chances are everywhere. The now or never lie turns paths into prison doors. Think of your life as a vast, open landscape with many roads, not a narrow hallway with closing doors. If you miss one path today, another will appear tomorrow or next year. The pottery class will be offered again. There will be other jobs, other trips, other opportunities to learn that skill. The only thing that truly has a now or never deadline is the chance to be kind in this moment, to take a breath, to be present. Most of our dreams are not perishable items. They are patient. They will wait for you to be ready. Sarah felt the panic rise, but she paused. She asked herself, is this truly my only chance to ever try pottery? The obvious answer was no. She looked at her calendar and saw a busy but fulfilling month of existing commitments. She made a choice from clarity, not fear. She bookmarked the class page and set a reminder to check for the next session in 3 months. A wave of calm washed over her. She had not said never. She had said not right now. She was managing her life, not being chased by it. Practice the time expansion exercise. When you feel the now or never pressure about a decision, stop. Take 3 deep breaths. Ask yourself, if I don't do this today, what is the actual consequence? Will the opportunity truly vanish forever, or will a similar one arise? Will I be okay? Almost always, the answer is you will be perfectly fine. Then ask, would I enjoy this more if I did it when I had proper time and attention for it? By removing the false emergency, you give yourself the power to choose from a place of desire, not desperation. You have time. Your dreams are not running away from you. The now or never voice is a manipulator trying to force you into rushed, regrettable choices. Your power move is to slow down, to say, I will decide when I am ready. This puts you back in the driver's seat of your own timeline. When you choose from a place of readiness, not rush, you bring your whole self to the experience. You enjoy it more, you learn more, and you build a life that feels spacious and intentional, not frantic and panicked. Your time is yours to spend, not to be stolen by a lie. Chapter 12. Celebrate the choice. After months of saving, Kai finally booked a solo trip to Japan. The moment he clicked purchase, the old voice started. What if it's a waste of money? What if you get lonely? Instead of arguing, Kai did something new. He called his best friend and said, "I just booked my trip. Let's celebrate." They went out for sushi, and Kai talked excitedly about his plans. The celebration acted like a shield. Every time a doubt popped up, he remembered the taste of the sushi, his friend's toast, and the feeling of victory. The choice felt solid and right. We are quick to doubt our choices but slow to celebrate them. We treat a decision as the end of a stressful process, then immediately brace for the fallout. But what if we saw the moment of choice as a victory in itself? Choosing is an act of courage. It is you stepping out of the fog of maybe and onto a path. That deserves a party, no matter how small. Celebration locks in the positive feeling, building a memory bank of times I chose and it felt good. This bank becomes your confidence fund for future decisions. Think of a gardener who finally plants a seed. They do not stand over the dirt worrying if it will grow. They might pat the soil, smile, and imagine the future flower. They celebrate the planting. Your choices are seeds. The celebration is you patting the soil, trusting the process, and honoring your own action. It tells your brain, "This was a good thing I did." It builds a neural pathway linking decision-making with pleasure, not pain. Soon, your brain will start to see choosing as an opportunity for reward, not just risk. Kai's trip had its challenges. A missed train, a rainy day, but the overall memory was golden. Because he had celebrated the decision up front, he faced the hiccups with a sense of adventure, not "I told you so" regret. He had already marked this choice as a win, so the journey felt like part of the win. When he returned, he made a photo album. Looking at it, he felt no doubt, only deep satisfaction. The celebration at the start had set the tone for the entire experience. It was a loop of positivity he had created for himself. Your task is to institute a choice celebration ritual. It does not need to be big. It can be a special coffee after you send a difficult email, a dance in your kitchen after you make a big appointment, telling a friend, "I decided on X and I'm excited." The key is to mark the moment with a small, positive act. Do not wait to see if the outcome is good first. Celebrate the courage it took to choose. This simple practice trains your mind to associate decision-making with empowerment and joy, weakening the voice that associates it with danger and regret. Make your life a series of celebrations, not trials. Every choice you make, from what to eat for lunch to where to live, is a testament to your ability to direct your life. By celebrating, you are not being naive about outcomes. You are being wise about your spirit. You are feeding the part of you that is brave and capable. Soon, the voice of regret will have to shout over the sound of your own applause. You will become someone who enjoys the act of choosing, who trusts themselves, and whose life is punctuated by little victories, not just big worries. Chapter 13. When the voice comes back. Maria had been doing so well. She had changed careers, moved to a new city, and built a life she loved. Then she had a bad week, a project failed, she felt lonely, and the old voice returned with a vengeance. "See," it sneered. "You were never cut out for this. You should have stayed where you were safe. You've made a huge mistake." The old, familiar despair washed over her. For a moment she believed it. This is the critical moment, the test of everything you have learned. The voice will come back. Your job is not to banish it forever, but to know what to do when it visits. Progress is not a straight line up a mountain. It is a spiral. You circle around and sometimes you pass the same old fears, but you are a little higher each time. The voice coming back does not mean you have failed. It means you are human and you are in new territory, which is naturally scary. Even the most confident people have moments of doubt. The difference is they have a plan for it. They do not let the surprise visit become a permanent stay. They have a toolkit and they know how to use it. Imagine you have a friend who is prone to panic. When they start spiraling, you would not scream at them to shut up. You would speak calmly, offer facts, and remind them of their strength. You need to be that friend to yourself. When the voice comes back, do not fight it with anger or fear. Acknowledge it. Say, "Hello, old friend, I see you're scared. I'm here and I've got this." This compassionate acknowledgement disarms the voice. It is no longer a terrifying monster. It is just a scared part of you that needs reassurance. Maria remembered her toolkit. She did not try to argue with the voice in her head. She got out her journal and wrote the fears down. Seeing them on paper made them smaller. Then she opened her courage log from earlier chapters and read her own list of victories. She looked at photos from her new life that brought her joy. She called a supportive friend and just talked. She took one small, loving action. She made herself a good meal. Step by step, she rebuilt her sense of footing. The voice faded back into the background, no longer in charge. Your toolkit is personal. Build it now on a good day. What are your go-to practices for recentering? It could be rereading past journal entries that show your growth, looking at a physical proof folder of your accomplishments, calling a specific person who believes in you, taking a walk in nature, doing a creative activity, listing 5 things you are grateful for in this new path. Write this list down. Put it somewhere you can see it. When the hard day comes and your mind goes blank, you will have a map back to yourself. You are building resilience, not a perfect silence. The goal is not to never hear the voice again, but to change your relationship with it. To see it as a passing storm, not the permanent weather. Each time you use your toolkit and come out the other side, you prove to yourself that you can handle the doubt. You build a deeper, unshakable trust in your own ability to cope. The voice loses its power to ruin everything because you have everything you need to repair your peace. You are no longer a victim of the weather. You are a person who knows how to find shelter. Chapter 14. The Ripple Effect of Your Courage. When Tom decided to finally leave his unfulfilling job to become a carpenter, he was only thinking about his own happiness. He was terrified of the financial risk and what people would say. But a funny thing happened. His college-age nephew, who was feeling lost, saw Tom make the brave change. Inspired, the nephew had the courage to switch his own major to something he loved. A friend of Tom's, stuck in a similar job rut, started having quieter, more serious thoughts about her own life. Tom's single act of courage sent out ripples he never intended. Your courage is contagious. When you silence your voice of regret and take a brave step, you do not just change your own life. You give everyone around you permission to reconsider their own limits. You become a living example that change is possible. Your action is a stone thrown into the pond of your community, and the ripples touch shores you cannot see. You might never know whose life you inspired simply by having the guts to live your own. This is the hidden, beautiful bonus of your bravery. It is a gift to the world. Think of someone in your own life whose courage inspired you. Maybe it was a grandparent who immigrated, a friend who started a business, or even a public figure who stood up for something. Their action likely made your own dreams feel more possible. Now, realize that you can be that person for someone else. Your coworker, your sibling, your child is watching. They are not waiting for you to be perfect. They are waiting to see if it is okay to try, to fail, to be real. Your courage answers that question with a resounding yes. Tom did not know about the impact he had until years later when his nephew thanked him over a holiday dinner. The friend later confided that watching him gave her the final nudge to go back to school. Tom was moved to tears. His struggle, which had felt so lonely and selfish at the time, had been a lighthouse for others. His personal victory had multiplied. This gave his choice a deeper meaning. It was no longer just about him. It was part of a larger story of people helping each other wake up and live. This week, consider your ripple. As you make brave choices, big or small, know that you are part of a chain of courage. You are paying forward the inspiration you have received from others. Let this thought empower you on hard days. You are not just doing this for you. You are doing it for the version of your best friend who needs to see it. You are doing it for your future children who will learn from your example. Your life is a message. What do you want it to say? Play it safe, or it is worth it to try. Embrace your role as an inspiration, even quietly. You do not need to preach or post about it, just live it. The most powerful ripples are created by genuine action, not loud words. As you build a life you love, free from the chains of regret, you unknowingly hold a door open for others. You make the path a little clearer, a little less scary. Your courage is your legacy. It is how you change your corner of the world, not by fixing others, but by daring to fix your own life first. The ripples will do the rest. Chapter 15. Living Regret Light. This is not about a life with no regrets. That is impossible and would mean you never took any risks. This is about living regret light. It is about making choices from a place of hope and curiosity, not fear and obligation. It is about looking back and seeing a path colored by attempts, learning, and growth, not by a long shadow of what-ifs. A regret-light life feels spacious, free, and owned by you. It is the feeling of driving with the windows down, not staring in the rearview mirror. Designing a regret-light life is a daily practice. It starts in the morning. Instead of waking up with dread and have-tos, you ask, what can I choose today that aligns with my joy or growth? It continues through small decisions, choosing the podcast that intrigues you over the one you should listen to, ending a draining conversation politely, taking the scenic route home. Each small choice is a vote for the person you want to be, a person who trusts their own compass. These votes add up to a life of your own design. Your environment matters. Fill your physical and digital spaces with things that inspire courage, not comparison. Put up quotes that remind you of your strength. Follow accounts that show real people living authentic lives. Clean out closets of clothes that represent an old, smaller version of you. A regret-light environment supports your new mindset. It gently reminds you of who you are becoming and makes it easier to choose bravely when the moment comes. The core of regret-light living is a simple filter for decisions. Am I choosing from love or from fear? Love means for your growth, your joy, your values, your curiosity. Fear means to avoid pain, judgment, failure, or uncertainty. You will not always choose from love, and that is okay. But just asking the question shines a light on your motive. It gives you a chance to pause and maybe, just maybe, choose differently. Over time, choosing from love becomes your default setting. Imagine yourself a year from now living regret light. You feel lighter because you are not carrying the heavy backpack of unmade decisions and silenced dreams. You feel more confident because you have a history of listening to yourself and surviving the outcomes. You are more interesting to yourself and others because you have stories of trying things. Your voice of regret is still there, but it is like a radio playing softly in another room. You can hear it if you listen for it, but you are too busy living your music to pay it much mind. Your new normal is freedom. Freedom from the paralyzing what if. Freedom to try, to adjust, to change your mind. Freedom to be imperfectly, messily, beautifully human. This freedom is not a destination you arrive at and stop. It is the road itself. It is the feeling of moving, exploring, and engaging with your one wild and precious life. You have the tools. You have practiced. Now go live. Make choices, celebrate them, learn from them, and keep moving. Your life is waiting, and it is far more exciting than anything your fear could ever imagine. Conclusion: your voice, your story. You started this book standing on the edge of the diving board, listening to a whisper of fear. Now you know that whisper is just one character in the rich, complex story of you. It has a part to play, but it does not get to write the script or direct the action. That job belongs to the brave, curious, and resilient you, the you that chooses, that tries, that gets back up. The you that is reading these words, ready to live differently. Your voice of regret had its say for long enough. Now it is your turn. First page of your new beginning starts now with your very next choice. It does not need to be a big, dramatic leap. It can be a small, quiet step taken with a new sense of ownership. Look at the day ahead. Where can you practice? Where can you choose from hope? Where can you silence the old noise and listen to your own true song? This is how you build a life you do not regret, one brave, loving choice at a time. You are the author now. Pick up your pen. The world is waiting to read your story. Go write it.